everyone, my name is Clarissa Camacho with Queen Bee Latina, and I'm here with Emmy Award-winning director Sergio Guerrero. So, a little bit about Sergio is he's a USC Cinematic Arts graduate, and again, Emmy Award winner. He produced and co-wrote the multi-awarded feature film A Day Without a Mexican, a sleeper hit that later served as the banner for the immigration movement in the United States. Guerrero is the creator, director, and producer for Fox Dos Lunas. In addition, he produced the first original scripted series for NBC Universo called El Vato. Would you like to add anything?
No, I think you say most of it.
So we're going to be talking about his new film, Intolerance No More. So what makes you so passionate about the content of this film?
Well, the movie starts with a line that says, inspired by today's news. So what happened is that one day I was watching the TV, flipping channels, and all of a sudden I saw a police chase. These 5 units are chasing an African American woman, and the anchorman was making a lot of assumptions about this woman without knowing her, without knowing anything about her background or what happened, just in order to keep the ratings up. So I was going like, oh, that's really unfair that, you know, that all that manipulation that's happening live, and this woman, nobody knows anything about her. So that was one point, and then I started doing some research and find out that last year 175 people were killed in police brutality cases only in California. So that was another thing that started connecting the dots. Besides, I have kids, and I want to leave a better place for them, you know. So every time that I do a personal project or a passion project, I try to do something that create awareness, and that's the reason why I put together this project.
Yeah. So you will see a lot of interesting topics such as police brutality, racial profiling, classism. A lot of those sort of ideas will be in the film. So I think you answered this question, but what do you hope to achieve with this film?
Definitely create awareness, definitely open the conversation. We're taking this movie to colleges, universities, film festivals, in order to create that to spark that conversation and continue to try to find some solutions, because it's a very complex subject matter. It's not just that the police are the bad guys and we are the good guys, or no, it's not. It's a very, very complex subject matter, and in the movie, what I try to achieve is to put together all those matters and those subjects, and the movie doesn't give you any solutions because there is no one solution to the problem, but at least it makes you think and also create awareness of the subject matter.
I completely agree. As a student, I've seen lots of racial profiling amongst my peers, and I think films like this are important because it makes us have conversations with others, because a lot of people don't know what it's like. If you're not a person of color, you don't know what we're going through, and I think this film really makes you look from a different point of view. You're physically in the character's mind, which is really nice. So why do you think our country has regressed so much to the point that we have to continue to make films like this to raise awareness?
Well, especially with the administration that we have right now, I think everything went to the extremes, and I do believe that artists and everyone is trying to create a balance, at least on my side. Every time that I do a project, I try to create a balance and have people see a different point of view, you know, because sometimes it's too radical on the right or too radical on the left. But with this kind of projects, I do believe that you create awareness and balance.
Okay, I love that. So you're still passionate, but you're still trying to find a middle ground so that everyone understands. I love that. Do you think the people of color in general, need to stand united during these political times?
Oh, definitely, more than any time, definitely. And one of the things that I want to touch base on is that the main character is an African American woman. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think that it's just an African American problem of the community problem, but it's not. Like I said, out of the 175 people that were killed in police brutality cases last year, 50% were Latinos and 50% were African Americans. So the only difference is that the African American community makes more noise and is louder than the Latino community, because I think there's a couple of reasons why the Latino community doesn't report all the cases. Sometimes because it's a problem of undocumented, either the people or families around, so they don't want to know anything about the police. Sometimes it's a cultural problem, and sometimes it's that the networks and the media doesn't give enough coverage to those cases. You know, but like I said, it's 50-50, so we have to create awareness about that.
I completely agree. I have grandparents who are immigrants, and I think that they believe their payment or the cost of living here is dealing with discrimination and abuse, even though that's not true. And secondly, I believe it's our duty as Mexican people with documentation is to bring awareness and to fight the battles for others who don't have the opportunity or cannot speak out of fear. So I completely agree with that. So this is probably a difficult question, but what is the worst story you've ever heard of police brutality?
Well, when I was doing the research to do the movie, you always have to, because I believe that there's no writer's block. The only way to get out of writer's block is to do research. So doing the research, we find out so many horrible police brutality cases. In the movie, what I did is I create this, we mentioned some of the people that we believe it was injustice, and some of them, I asked Alex Mendez, which is an amazing Mexican artist, to draw some of the pictures of these portraits of these people, and like Philantro Castile and Tamil, you have all the list that the people that we mentioned. It doesn't necessarily mean that those are the worst or the. It's just that they were the ones that inspire us to do this, you know, because what happened to them, some of the same things that are happening to the protagonists of this movie.
Yeah.
So this is just an homage to these people and their families that suffer so much.
Beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. This is a funny question. So how was it like to play a small character in your own film?
Oh, we just did it for fun. And what I did is, which I believe on that, is that in the movie I say is the problem not only is a police problem, but it's also the community. So the communities and the police, we have to come together. Mm-hmm. Communities have to be educated, police has to be trained, and find a middle ground to the problem. And I still believe on that. So it was important for me to say that because, you know, it's something that in the short sentences I do believe on that.
Yeah, it was coming directly from you.
Yeah.
Nice. That was one of my favorite parts, just randomly sing you in there, a little Easter egg. So how do you think stereotypes affect the way that police officers conduct their investigations?
Well, that's exactly the problem. Not only in the investigations, but on when they pull over somebody just because the color of their skin, or just to find out that he has a problem. Sometimes they invent things, or sometimes they plan things inside the cars, but that's profiling. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, just to say, if they stopping somebody just for the color of their skin, we have to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
We have to stop that. You know, that's what is. And this film also talks about a little bit about that. The character says, she says something like they just pulled me over because I'm black, as simple as that. You know, I'm driving while black, and yeah, I mean, we have to do something to stop those kind of profiling things.
Black and Latinos are always pulled over. I remember in Arizona, there was a huge lawsuit because, you know, they were pulling over Hispanic people because they just assumed they were undocumented and they were asking for identification, which is completely wrong. And I think that you did a lovely job of portraying it from an African American's point of view. So how do you think ratings has affected the way news stations and / media portray the news to the public?
Well, every single network or every single platform has an agenda because it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
So here in the States you have Fox News or you have CNN. It's a business that they have to run, and they have to have an agenda. They have to have a side. So every time that you hear a news, you have to think about why they are delivering that news in that context. And then you change the channel or you change the platforms and you hear different things. So in this movie, social media and the networks, they play a character itself. Is one of the characters, because I want to have a saying of how on how the manipulation goes through, and also the social media, how it's playing the role that is playing in this society, in this turmoil, chaos that we are living in the social media world.
Yeah, we're a huge part of the way that things play out, the way that the amount of attention a certain story gives. So I completely agree with that. Thank you all for watching. Again, Sergio Guerrero. You can watch his new film, Intolerance No More. It'll be in circulation for short film festivals.
It's going to be in film festivals, and pretty soon we're looking for distribution. So pretty soon we're going to give you guys the good news of who pick up the film and how can you watch it on what platforms.
Yeah. Thank you so much again for watching.
Okay, so this is a behind-the-scenes shot that I really like, because you have the protagonist. Her name is Paulette Patterson, and the role that she's playing is Lucretia. Lucretia, I came up with this name because in a Rembrandt painting, Rembrandt painted this beautiful painting about Lucretia, which was a woman who got killed in the 19th centuries because she was abused by the king, and for some reason I connected those dots to this movie, and I decided to name the main character Lucretia. And this is the bad cop, because I mean, again, in the movie not everybody's a bad cop, but this guy is the one who was over the line of his duty. So we did a lot of rehearsals. We did a lot of choreographies on how the fight was going to be played. And these two guys were amazing to work with, because they did it really, I mean, I felt like it was very real. So that's one, and this is another character that's very important. The character's name is Sarah, Officer Sarah, and she also plays the partner of that officer, Joel. This is Rene Aranda, the first AD, and that's myself. Here is another character that I love. His name is JJ, and this guy has this camera on the helmet and another camera on his motorcycle, and I love this character because he's an opportunist that wants instant fame, and he sees for the first time, he's the one who sees the body of the cop laying down, and he tries to take advantage of that. And also we we wrote that character in order to have a little bit of telling the people that some of the kids today are trying to go for instant gratification and instant fame, and that character represents that generation. This is part of the crew, and like you see, we have no professional cameras. We just have GoPro cameras, iPhones, and things like that. And all these guys are my crew that I work with them for years now. And every time that I tell them that I have a new show or a new film, they go like, "Okay, Sergio, now what crazy thing you came up with?" But everybody has a great attitude, and thanks to them, we make this movie happen. My mom once told me to be tolerant with people that may not agree with my ideas and actions. But today, being tolerant alone is not enough. We need a diverse, inclusive, and integrate community. In pluribus unum, out of many, one. This is the philosophy behind the film Intolerance No More and the photography exhibition you have in front of you. A multicultural project that brings to the light the racism, prejudice, and social media turbulence we are living in. It's up to us to make the change from tolerance to inclusion.